Kimmy, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I haven't seen all your games, but that's as bad as I've seen you shoot and probably play. It was sloppy. You play from behind. I don't know. At times it looked like they're pressing. They never got relaxed, I guess I should say, because I didn't see much of a flow of anything. Courtney Smith's 4 for 12. That doesn't help. You play from behind the entire game, and the fact that team they're going to stand their ground. They're physical, and I think your kids eventually got that way, but it's not something that you're used to. Go ahead and assess. That's my assessment.
That's a great assessment.
Well, close, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, at one point in the timeout, I mean, we still are a program and a team, certainly how we're built, that we like to play basketball. We like to flip the floor. We like to move and cut. We like pretty basketball. And they weren't going to do that, and that's a credit to Travis. And he's wily and old and I mean, experienced and smart. And
Take the old out of there and say
yeah, I don't mean old. He did a great job with a game plan that just said muck it up, get into their shooters, make every cut hard, and I think it just rattled us. They challenged every shot that we had. They challenged a lot of passes. They did pick and choose who to come off of. They wanted Kiwi to shoot and maybe Crystal to shoot, and it's just a night when I think they got us rattled, and our shooting percentage showed that, and other than Savannah Smith, I don't know that anyone really responded that well in that kind of game shooting the ball, because I just think we got out of rhythm. But that's me. That's us not duplicating just how physical the game can be, and in the midst of this, the way it's supposed to be called, we don't think it'll get like this, but I know it always does. I know in postseason play, with arm bars aren't called as much and cuts aren't called as much, and it just turned into that, and we didn't respond well because we hadn't practiced it in a long time. We hadn't seen it. We can't duplicate it. We haven't done a good enough job getting our kids ready for that. And it won't be a secret for anyone else that wants to play us now. They'll try to do the same thing. So it's a great challenge for us to now respond to that kind of basketball, which is a little bit more slugfest, and become a little bit better at it, or become better at what we do and move the ball a little bit better against that kind of defense.
Yeah, if you can't match up with them physically, I think you definitely didn't have to rely on finesse and quickness. And, I unless I'm way off, and I'm not that smart when it comes to this stuff, but I thought in the first half, they really took Savannah Scott and Savannah Smith out of your game. They weren't letting them they were not giving them good looks.
Right.
And, when you don't have those two, I mean, they can fly around the floor and do all that they do, which is impressive, but when they're not putting points on the board or making things happen, your offense is limited at that point. And I think, is it right to think that they took those two away from you in the first half?
I think they took pretty much them away. I mean, Savannah responded in a way, Savannah Smith,
right, and
got herself in the game, but I think you are right on in your assessment. I think the one player that probably got looks that she thinks she should make is Katie. Katie got a couple of looks that didn't go in, but also a couple of everything was pretty contested. I mean, they made it hard. They made Courtney Smith's hard. And it is so much more about, we still just need a little bit more time to figure out, to respond to how people guard us. And, we have a system, and we get real set in what we're doing in that system, and sometimes it requires you to make plays within that system, and we didn't take advantage of some of the things that they were dictating to us, and I just thought they were the aggressor in dictating what side of the floor we were going to be on, how they guarded on balls. They got over the top real easy, and we didn't make them pay for those things. So again, we haven't seen this kind of defense, and it's only going to help us to be able to watch the film and be able to handle it better the next time we see it. And I think we will.
From your standpoint, when they're, you make a little mini run, you're still playing, I'm going to say 6 to 8 points behind. Do you, at some point, think, I got to pull something out of the bag here? I got to figure out something here to get us off the schneid here? Do you try to look or do something that you know, is different. There was a guy that sat down next to me, and it went to the fourth quarter, and he goes, "Is that too much of a deficit to overcome?" I said, "Unless she's got something that she hasn't done yet." I mean, you know, everything they've done hasn't really worked, so
Right.
unless she's got some trick up her sleeve, you know, it probably is. You start looking for any little thing that maybe would get them out of their, you know, what they were doing?
Right. I don't think, I think it's, I think that's what happens in this game. It's such a momentum game, and I think we made enough stops to get ourselves back in the game.
Yeah, you had chances.
Clearly, you know, the game wasn't pretty to watch, and both teams shot horribly.
Oh,
But I just think, you know, there's no secrets in how we play. I just thought I thought people would shake out of it and make a couple of baskets, and I think Savannah Smith did and got us going, and they just made some timely shots. I think that's the thing that we said in their scout was they've got players that really make timely shots. They got some offensive rebounds and kind of deflated us again, and I think no matter what you say, it's still, I've got a young team that still emotionally probably gets down a little bit, just like you will when you've struggled the whole day and you're trying as hard as you possibly can. Right. Savannah Scott couldn't have tried harder.
No.
You know, she missed a couple of layups at the rim. It's a physical game for her. Courtney Smith gets knocked around. I mean, everybody kind of gets knocked around, and we just got to grow those young players up and keep them positive and know that good things will happen. And we got to put them in better places on the floor to make them successful against that kind of pressure. And again, I think that was us not having them quite prepared for what they were going to see.
Were they pushing Courtney just far enough out to where she was uncomfortable?
Well, their size makes it hard for her to shoot over, so she missed a couple of shots inside. But again, 4 of 12 isn't awful. Make a couple more, and she has 10 rebounds. So,
right.
I mean, she's one of the few that probably played pretty good. I look at, 3 of our starters' numbers are not good enough to win games, and that's what I think. Again, you hit it right. They said take those 2 guards away. If you can limit them, they can't score the ball, and we got to prove them wrong. We've got to be able to have other people, and that's when we're good. When we spread it around and people are scoring, we're just not quite getting enough offense from everybody else on our team. So we got to do a better job of that.
They get 26 points on their bench, all from 3 players. I don't know if that's. I mean, I looked at everything they had yesterday, but do they go deeper than you?
Well, I think some of those players' numbers were things that we weren't thinking that they would come in and make, I guess, six of their threes. We kind of played them that we didn't think they would make 6 of those threes, and
right.
They did. So that's where most of their points come from. But you got to pick and choose a little bit just because their size inside, and again, I don't think defensively this was even an issue. It's not even an issue when you hold a team to 57 or 58 points. You should be able to win the game. This was our offense not handling their intensity on the defensive end and how they dictated our offense. They dictated our offense, and we weren't the aggressor, and the more aggressive team won.
With this team being so young, now you go on the road. You said it last week. The back end of your schedule is on the road. Is there any higher than normal concern about how young kids will respond to just one loss after winning so many and being young and being out on the road when there's a lot on the line right now? I mean, you're going to be in the tournament, but God, having the number 1 or number 2, but having the number 1 seed is a huge advantage. Are you overly concerned or just normal for a young team faced with what they're faced coming up?
I tell the team I'm going to beat myself up over this game, and the coaches will make us better. We'll make them better. But I immediately, when I'll watch the film tonight, I'll immediately switch to being really, really hopeful and understanding that we'll fix some things and they'll get better, and they need to know that, and we believe that. I mean, I know that we can improve on some things that we did tonight. I know we have some personnel. We got our challenges personnel-wise. We aren't perfect. We aren't built perfect, but I think we can improve our performance on the offensive end based on how they played us. And the concern is, like anything, I don't think anyone can totally be like North Dakota. I think Eastern Washington is the next closest thing to how they play defense. So that'll be a real challenge. But Idaho's unbelievably a challenge because they can make 20-something threes in a game. So they're a whole different animal, but they're not necessarily built like the physicality of North Dakota. So every game, and then you got Portland State that's going to zone you, and then you got Sac that's crazy and plays like that. So no one can, you can try to duplicate what North Dakota did to us, and I'm assuming we'll see some of that. But, my biggest concern is just our mentality and us getting better and us knowing that we can and staying confident, because I do think we're in a great position in this league, and I think we have a lot to play for and we have a lot to look forward to.